Hello people, welcome back to Best Chelsea Always. Boys back again with another video. And yes, yesterday night, towards the evening, we saw Thomas Tuchel's appointment as Chelsea manager and also got a few glimpses of him training with the squad. And of course, today we have the Wolves game, so definitely he will be available in the dugout. But before moving on to discuss on Tuchel and the game coming forward, I have something to say to our beloved manager Frank Lampard. I know it's been a tough journey for him, especially, and as per Athletic, whose reporters are very much in get the reports in detail. So, according to them, we have come to know that there were several issues already going on behind the club. Yes, I always don't like, even to this day, I'm very gutted to see Frank Lampard leave the club in such circumstances. But that's what has been going on in the Chelsea's history so far. Since Roman Abramovich's takeover, we have seen 13 managers, and none of them have been termed as, a long-term potential. Surprisingly, I think of all the managers, I think Jose Mourinho is very lucky to stay at least for 4.5 years at the club. But apart from that, I think no manager has survived more than 2 seasons. And Frank Lampard's season has come to an end after a not so fantastic 18 months. But according to me, his first season in charge was absolutely brilliant because you have the transfer ban, you lose your best player, Eden Hazard, and you bring in your academy players, put your full faith on them, and try to get the best out of the academy players. And certainly, today we are gifted with 4 of those big names: Reece James, Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, and Fikayo Tomori. I mean, it's an honor working under Frank Lampard for these players, and also we as fans. When Frank Lampard signed for this big institution, we thought that okay, finally there has been a manager who is going to survive for a long-term potential. Yes, patience was always a key, which this club lacks every single time because this club's hierarchy is based on immediate success. We go to a rough patch, that's it. Your game's over. We bring in a new manager. He brings instant success. He also leaves the same way once he enters a rough patch. And I think this has been Chelsea's, this has become a custom for Chelsea, to sack managers very often for immediate success. But if you look at the examples of some of the teams like Jurgen Klopp, you see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think Manchester United is a very good example when you talk about these things. They were on a very rough patch, more worse than us, to be frank, and the management had patience. We have seen a lot on social media to sack Ole every single time because the results were against Man United. United were being thrashed heavily by teams. They were even knocked out of the Champions League, which everyone almost thought that was the end of Ole Gunnar. But you see, the management has paid faith in him, and today they are currently, till yesterday night, until the games were played, they were on the top of the table, but now City is at the top. But you can see how much the patience has paid off. Ole has steered the team back into contention for a title race, where a month ago, nobody thought about it. A month about it, Chelsea were at the top, and now Chelsea are literally at the bottom half of the table. They are sitting currently 10th in the table, 6 points behind our rivals West Ham United, who are currently sitting 4th in the table. I'll put out the table on the screen for you so you can have a nice look on it. So you can see West Ham sitting in 4th position, 6 points ahead of us, as they also won yesterday the game, and Arsenal also a point ahead of us as they beat Southampton last night. So it's pretty much tight at the top for us to, get back to winning ways and secure a top 4 position at least. If not, we're not winning the title. So if you look at these examples which I mentioned, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Jurgen Klopp, Manchester United is a great example. And another example is a long-term example, Liverpool. Liverpool were not even considered as a top 4 team until recently for the past 2 years. They are really the biggest force in the Premier League right now. I think they and Manchester City are the strongest teams in the Premier League at this point. If we talk about Jurgen Klopp, it took him 4 years to establish what Liverpool is now. Even they have gone through a rough patch, no Champions League football, Europa League, sometimes not even that, finishing out of the top four, finishing in 8th position, 7th position. But fans and the management showed faith in Jurgen Klopp, and he is reaping the fruits today. The management is reaping the fruits today. Today, they are at the top, and they are literally untouchable. Nobody can even think of defeating them. They are such a well organized team. Of course, albeit this season they are not at their best, but if you talk about their overall performance. So, in the case of Chelsea, I don't see that. In my opinion, I frankly believe that, Lampard should have been given, at least the time till the end of the season, no matter where he finishes. Okay, and then you respectfully terminate his contract, and then you sign Tuchel or Nagelsmann or whoever the Chelsea approaches. According to Athletic, we have also seen that Lampard's relationship with the director deteriorated because of the fact that he has been pushing a Declan Rice move, and Chelsea are not ready to spend a heavy amount on an academy reject, which further, broke the relationship between the director and Frank Lampard, and he couldn't get the best out of the signings, Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. This was, I think, the number one factor that they decided that they needed to change, because of all the signings, everyone has performed, but except Timo Werner and Kai Havertz. They have been not at all seen anywhere in the season as, challenging players at all. And that is, according to that, maybe they decided to give a change in management and to bring a manager like Tuchel, because he is a German. He has worked with several players who are in our squad, and also it would be a good help for the German players too. In my opinion, I already said that Lampard should have stayed at least the end of the season, but as things go, the club is everything, The club comes before everything. So I think the club was right to take the decision to sack Lampard and bring in Tuchel. And yesterday we rightly saw how Tuchel was incorporated in training, some of the glimpses we got, and it's a bit of a different training style, which I have seen. It's very much different from what Frank always opts. So it will be interesting to see tonight what Chelsea actually have in store for the Wolves game. And as far as I'm concerned, with the coming in of Tuchel, the formation is going to remain the same, because we have seen the same thing at the Paris Saint-Germain and also with the Borussia Dortmund, a 4-3-3 sometimes become a 4-2-2-2, but most probably it is a 4-3-3, or in some circumstances he also moves to a 3-4-3 formation. But I definitely hope he sticks to a 4-3-3, because we have a strong wing backs in that place. So 4-3-3 remains the same as what Frank Lampard has gone, but maybe here and there some tweaks in tactics and style of play, counter-attacking style, defense style, pressing. These things will come into play when Tuchel is appointed. So anyways, I'm very excited to see what happens tonight. So let's get to the second half of the video, that is Tuchel's appointment and today's preview, Chelsea versus Wolves. Okay, so let's first talk about Tuchel. So we know Tuchel is an aggressive manager, not so good relationship with the boats, the reason why he was sacked from Paris Saint-Germain, even though after an outstanding season, and also the first manager to actually take Paris Saint-Germain to the final, albeit he couldn't win it, but of course he took them to the final. So I have heard many critics say that, winning the French league in Paris doesn't make you a big manager. But in my opinion, of course, what he says is right. If you win the league, it doesn't mean that you are the best manager, because if you win the Champions League, trophies like that, where all the top teams from all over the Europe compete, then it becomes interesting. And Thomas Tuchel did prove that by taking Paris Saint-Germain to the final. Of course, Bayern Munich was so strong at that time They were unbeatable almost. After thrashing Barcelona 8-2, what do we expect? Of course, it was Bayern were heavy favorites to win the Champions League. Now, if you talk about Tuchel, a pretty much similar style, he's gonna adopt what he used at PSG because we have all sorts of players in that position. Of course, players like Christian Pulisic, Thiago Silva, Antonio Rudiger, Mendy. You have many players like Chilwell, Reece James. These all are going to be favored more, and we might see even more of Timo Werner and Kai Havertz too. But this brings me to another worry that appointment of Tuchel is at the end of our youngsters, the club. Because Frank gave so much faith in the youngsters, and today we have some of them who are playing in the starting 11 team. And appointment of Tuchel, will it be the end of youngsters? Will we say Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount, play as such regular in the squad? I am a bit worried, but I still trust Tuchel that, of course, when you have so many options, he's going to try out different things and try to get a result out of it. So I wish Tuchel all the best for his upcoming managerial career with Chelsea, and also on behalf, I would say Frank Lampard, that no matter where he is, okay, we wish him all success in his future managerial career. He's always welcome at the bridge, and we definitely want him to see manage our club sometime later soon in the future. So straight away, now we'll get into the lineups for Chelsea versus Wolves game. So first time Thomas Tuchel will be in the dugout for this game. It's a home game, so it's an easier game for Tuchel. Now, of course, Wolves are on a bad run of form once again, and when we faced them at the Molineux, they actually finished us. So in the return fixture, it's our duty to give them in return something. And Thomas Tuchel will be definitely looking on to get a first win to boost the players' confidence and get the team up and running, because there's a lot of toxic environment around the club right now and some of unhappy moments happening. So everyone is gutted by the fact that the manager has been sacked. Some of them has been their idols, but they have to move on and focus on the game coming ahead. So my lineup for this game will be a 4-3-3 formation, starting off with the goalkeeper Edouard Mendy, of course the number one choice after seeing Kepa do a great howler in the FA Cup against Luton. No way, Mendy is my first choice. We move to back four, and this is a bit interesting because now, since the appointment of Tuchel, Rudiger can also start. And of course, he played against Luton last game. It looks as though maybe Rudiger might be given a chance. So for me, I'm still going with Zuma at the back. Zuma and Thiago Silva pairing at the back. And of course, my wing backs are going to be Ben Chilwell and Reece James. We move to the midfield three. Now, this is where actually the problems start, because now we don't know how Tuchel is going to set up from here on. What sort of formation he's going to apply to this, an attacking prowess or a defensive prowess. We actually have no idea about it. And speaking of which, we don't know which players are also going to be in contention in the midfield three. So, in my opinion, I best believe that Tuchel might just, go into this game with the same tactics as Lampard has, adopted, and try to look out and see how Chelsea actually fare this, and later, analyze the game later and get prepared them for the next game properly with his own tactics, with his own style of play. So for me, I believe that Mason Mount is definitely going to retain his position back in the squad, along with N'Golo Kante making a return back to the team alongside Mateo Kovacic. Kai Havertz, I'm not starting him because he's not in so good form, and also Tuchel will also definitely not go for this at this point unless and until he tries to adopt his style of play, get into the team, and then start like a regular starter. So for me, Mateo Kovacic, Mason Mount on the left hand side, Mateo Kovacic on the right, and N'Golo Kante returning back to the starting 11 in the CDM position. I know Billy Gilmore also should be given the opportunity, but looking at Tuchel, I don't think he's going to trust Gilmore as such. So, in my opinion, he will be given Kante more preference than Gilmore. We move in the front three, and the front three is going to be typical as such. Of course, we're not going to see Callum Hudson-Odoi. We will see Timo Werner right in the centre forward position, along with Christian Pulisic on the left-hand side and Hakim Ziyech on the right-hand side. So Thomas Tuchel will definitely try to adopt PSG tactics for this front three to gel in and play as such, where Christian Pulisic sees more of the ball this time, Hakim Ziyech is the creator, and Timo Werner is the man behind all the goals. So that's pretty much will be the type of decision or tactics going ahead in this game, unless and until we focus on our next game where Tuchel properly organizes everything and gets his tactics on the paper right. So for me, this is a lineup predicted for the Wolves game, and the predictions for this game would be, I'm not expecting a big score line. Since the first game of Tuchel, I'm going with a decent 2-0 victory, a clean sheet. I am demanding a clean sheet from Mendy this time, and a 2-0 easy victory for Chelsea, of course, and that would be good enough to start Tuchel's campaign at the bridge. So this is my predictions. So thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, subscribe to this channel. Let me know down in the comment section your thoughts on the squad and your predicted score. So until then, I'll see you next in a post-match reaction video. Until then, take care. Goodbye.